We have a caller that wants to get in on this morning's discussion. Area code 404, last 3400. Give us your name, where you're calling from, and your 3 cents on this morning's discussion.
Hi, Montoya. It's Ashley. I was just calling. I just wanted to say thank you for the conversation. I think that sometimes as a Black woman, it is very overwhelming and it is exhausting, right? Like just having to constantly advocate for yourself. Like I'm only 35 and like I was diagnosed with PCOS. I know this isn't, regarding maternity, but I was diagnosed with PCOS in 2012, which is polycystic ovarian syndrome. So it's like a hormone imbalance, all of these different things that makes it very hard for you to lose weight. And this was something like after I got diagnosed, like we looked back at our family history and it was like probably the last 2 or 3 generations of women in our family were impacted by this same thing, but they had never gotten an official diagnosis. And like once I was diagnosed, like everybody went back and, like some people were diagnosed and other people like it was just the assumption just from how they had experienced their cycles and just their body makeup and all of that. And it's just like, I get that, we don't know what we don't know, but it's more just a comment. Like, it's just exhausting being a Black woman sometimes because we're having to advocate on every front about everything. And it gets draining. And, like, sometimes I just want to give up because, it's everything. And working in finance, I tend to like keep my cards close to my chest whenever I go in and I talk to people about my investment accounts or having conversations on money because I want to see how they're going to talk to me, how they're going to treat me, not only as a woman but as a Black woman. And it's necessary to do that because I want to make sure that they're giving me good information. And so I just wanted to, again, thank you for the conversation, but it is exhausting having to advocate all the time for basic rights that we should be receiving, right? Professionals take codes of ethics. And if you don't want to uphold that, if you don't want to genuinely service people and, like, make sure that they're healthy or they have the best options, like, don't even do it. It's not even worth it. Like what you're doing to try to set people back, I mean, like, you're going to have to pay for that. Not you, but, like, these professionals that really aren't taking it seriously. So I just wanted to say thank you for the conversation.
No, I'm moved by it. Again, just listening to all of you, all the queens, and you in particular, Ashley, just hearing it as I think through the concept of exhausting. Just to really, really think about really what our queens and literally are going through, because you would hope with health care that you would want to just literally be able to put your in a sense, your life or your hands in the care of a healthcare provider, if you will, to a degree. Obviously we all have to, like you say, advocate for ourselves, but to the degree that it has to happen to for you as Black women having to also be cautious of all these various things, I hear her. I hear that it can get so exhausting that sometimes you just want to give up because, she has to go on with her day-to-day life, or she gives the example, she has to do this in her work daily because she's kind of probably another one of one in her industry, if you will. Then I have to do it when it comes to your health care, and we always are talking about health is wealth, and it's so important, and it gets so overwhelming that sometimes you stop taking care of yourself is kind of what I hear the queen saying, and she's just appreciative of the fact that we're just simply talking about it. Alicia, your thoughts, and we got another caller as well.
I agree with this 100%, and I want her to know that we are all exhausted. We have to keep fighting so that we can obtain equality. That's just the reality of it, and don't give up. LaTrice, your thoughts?
And I'd like to add, Montoya, I'd like to add that just, you have to advocate for yourself, but you also have to find that space for self-care. If it's an app, if you're using Headspace or something as an app to just find a sense of peace momentarily. This work is exhausting. Being a Black woman in America, in North America, is exhausting. So you definitely don't want to give up advocating for yourself. So you have to take care of your emotional and mental well-being. And to that, I said North America for a reason, because the person, Leslie, who called from Canada, a lot of our folks from Canada don't recognize that biases and disparities exist But if you do the research on Canadian health disparities between Black and white women, they exist. I think in light of there's been some recent discoveries with residential schools that have thrown a number of Canadians for a loop because they thought that they were the perfect anti-racial society, and they're not. And a lot of what we experience in healthcare has to do with, now there is some overt explicit bias, but much of it is implicit, and that's the brain speaking for us. And so we have to acknowledge that exists and heed accordingly.
No, absolutely. As I think about,
I want to bid on myself.
Oh, go ahead, Queen. I'm sorry, I didn't catch you. Go ahead and say what you need to say.
No, I just want to bid on my sister. Self-care is the most important thing. I do self-care once a week, like intentional self-care, not haphazard. No, intentional self-care weekly. At least one day is a must. Do not be selfish. Take naps because it is hard out here for us. Like, it's very hard. So I wanted to just bid up what my sister's saying.
No, I definitely respect that, and I love that word intentional. Again, just for anybody listening, I love to reiterate great points. And both of you, as you said, started with the self-care and then being intentional about it. And it's just to ask for anybody listening that, again, as I empathize that your daily could be involved with so many things, and it's easy to get caught up and not be intentional about self-care. But it's going to be hard whether you advocate for yourself or not. And since it's going to be hard either way, it sounds like one of the best coping things, because you can't change the fact that you are Black and a woman in this sense. And so without it, it's probably going to be hard for you to advocate. And we all understand, especially if you have children, the obligation to the next generation. So I hope people will heed those suggestions by LaTrice as well as Alicia. Let's go to another caller as well. I also want to just highlight what the process maybe is like for picking and finding providers, what that looks like for both of you, because it sounds like y'all make some concerted efforts to, as you said, find Black women whenever possible. But let's go to a caller, and we'll get back to that after we talk to the caller. Area code 414, last 3048. Give us your name, where you're calling from, and your 3 cents on this morning's discussion.
I'm Phyllis Young, and I'm calling from Huntington Pass, South Carolina. But I was just wanting you to know that I'm listening in and I'm learning information from the other queens.
Hey, Mommy.
Hey, Sonny. Hey, baby. Okay, that's all I wanted to say. I'm listening, I'm learning.
Nah, thank you, Mom.
You're welcome.
Yeah, got my mommy out here listening and supporting. So y'all putting it down. Y'all putting it down this morning. Yeah, y'all putting it down this morning. So y'all didn't compare my mommy to call in. So y'all must definitely be doing y'all thing. I told y'all Alicia was a real life superhero. I told you she was. But yeah.